Are you ready? Are you ready to pot it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun. Peatcast it.
This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
I think it's going to be a four-shoulder touch.
Matt McGill,
Nothing says loving like a muffin.
Josh Griffin,
The internet is a hotbed of activity.
and Jana Sardi.
Podcast.
The show starts now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the
masculine.
Simply Youth Ministry Podcast. Doug Fields here with Matt McGill, the glorious Matt McGill to my right, the beautiful Jana Sardi to my right, and
gal
the
pump.
morethandodgeball.com.
Thin
There it
and
is.
What about much
trim.
better than more
Thin
than
and trim, more than dodgeball.com.
Hey, we had kind of,
Josh.
I feel like this is a new podcast. Oh, hi Josh.
Really?
Yeah.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Has there been changes in your life?
September.
Oh, okay.
No, no changes in my life, but I am officially done with sabbatical.
Yes.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. So you're working hard?
Yep.
Done
hardly
traveling
working.
touring Mexico.
So it's the first of the school year.
Yeah.
We have a date for next week already.
We are
That's
going to shoot a
amazing.
podcast
Next
we have,
Wednesday.
we
for
have
sure.
a lot of questions. I don't know if we'll get to them all. If you got some questions and you want to send them in, sympodcast@gmail.com. That's sympodcast@gmail.com.
Or text them to
and we
us.
haven't been back
Here's
together.
Josh's cell phone.
Nope.
We haven't been back
I'll give
in a
my
long
Google Voice
time,
number out.
But I have to go public and admit that 2 times ago, when we were talking about who had the questions, I had the questions.
Of course
Yep.
you had the question.
I
In the
was-
back of your car? Where were they?
I found them in my house, my office. I had questions. Matt, you weren't here, but I was blaming on Janet.
No, I do remember that. I was here for that.
Were you?
Yeah, I think
Maybe
he was
Josh
here.
was.
Every show we probably wondered where they were.
Yeah, well, anyway,
I
that's-
just know there's been lots of
I know.
times that Josh has not had them like he's supposed to.
Yeah, it doesn't
You didn't
matter.
print
It
'em.
was just I kind of went after Jana last time, saying that.
Ooh, speaking of that, I think Gianna went after Josh earlier today.
What's happening? Because I haven't heard this
No.
comment. I
Yeah,
said, should we
yeah.
save it for the show? And you said yes.
Yeah, well, she was saying I was dad
Summarize.
of the year, and it was sarcastic because I was throwing my kids in the pool,
Uh-huh.
and one of them hit the side of the pool and got really messed up.
Oh gosh.
Like
So now
this?
she's bringing it up
No,
and
but
kind
here's-
of rubbing it in that I abused my children's
no.
faces on the side of the
That's
pool.
So-
because she keeps him in a
I
sensory
wasn't-
deprivation chamber.
I wasn't there, but all Bella can talk about, which is my daughter, is how Josh hit his son's face against the side of the
Okay,
pool.
my Austin, my
It was
son,
gravity, not
yeah,
you.
it's gravity's fault. My son is a bleeder. Anyhow, he's nosebleeds a lot. It happens.
He's
But
a bleeder.
when he hits the side of the pool, he
Don't
really
let him in
bleeds.
the ring.
So water and blood equals disaster, and it just looked terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He's fine, but
That's a good story.
it was a
just
hard
a-
hit.
You know what?
So now I'm dad of the year to miss sarcasm over there and
You
in
are
front of other people today.
Sarcasm?
She was killing me.
Josh, you're a good dad.
No.
You are a good dad.
It was a
You're
total
very
accident.
Good dad.
He's not a great
He had
dad.
a 3-week
Good.
vacation. Compared to you, he is.
Oh.
He had a great vacation.
He had 2
3
week
weeks.
vacation.
3-week. He had a
Two
3-week
weeks.
vacation.
I thought you had 1 week at camp and 2 weeks on vacation.
1 week at camp and
And
3
3
weeks
weeks vacation.
I didn't set foot in the office from August 1 to I walked in September 1. It was incredible.
Wow.
It felt like a
That's unreal.
sabbatical of my own. Wink.
What's
It
the
was
wink
awesome.
for?
Because he's on sabbatical. Well,
Not
off
anymore.
sabbatical. So
anymore.
now he's working on it.
He's
Yeah, I'm going to blog on my sabbatical, but I don't have a
Should've.
blog.
Oh.
So
You had one blog.
I Twittered it.
Your
Remember you
Twitter
had your
just made
blog?
us all jealous, though. I'm laying at the beach, reading
Hanging
a
out,
book,
reading,
eating another meal.
cashing checks while I get paid to have a sabbatical.
You don't do electric deposit?
Keep working, kids.
Only 13 more years, and I
Yeah.
get my sabbatical.
Hey, but here's the deal.
You need to be a youth
Here's the
ministry
deal about
mogul.
what I missed. Let's talk about what I missed. I missed all the budget discussions.
Oh,
this
they're
summer.
still going strong.
I know, it was
They
strategic.
are.
We had to lay some people off at Saddleback. I missed
Yeah.
all of that. It was the greatest time to take a sabbatical. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Let's jump into this.
Oh.
Welcome back, everybody,
Hi, team.
to a whole new
Hi,
era.
team.
I'm
To a
gonna tell
whole
Rick.
new
I'm
era
gonna
of
tell Rick to
podcasts.
lay you off. With attitude like that.
Yeah?
You hold our fate in your hands, though. You're the.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind that. You know how
You wouldn't mind being laid off?
you know how great
I'll
this.
talk to people.
You know how the severance would be?
What
It'd
would
be
the
like a
severance
2-month
be?
sabbatical again.
No,
Only 6 months.
18 years. If they gave you a month for every
No.
year.
2 weeks.
You could take off
2
the next
weeks,
year.
but it's a maximum of 6 months.
Oh gosh, you policymakers.
Wow.
You
Let
gotta
me tell you.
look, notice he's like it has a maximum. He
He knows.
No, I haven't
No,
changed.
you.
You haven't changed.
All right,
No.
here we go. This is from James Doyle. Jimmy Doyle, Syracuse, New York. He says, hey, team leaders, because
Hey.
he's part of our team. So having Matt back was definitely different. When I first saw the time of the podcast, what podcast is this, by the way?
109.
You
So
guys-
this would have been 108, Chris, that Matt came back? Because we missed last week.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, last week, Josh,
What happened?
I was so ready. We had a little errand to run, the three of us, and both Squawker
Yeah.
and Future
Wasn't feeling it.
just weren't feeling it.
No.
And Chris drove all the way up from San Diego
It's
to do the
because
podcast.
I had to lay people
felt-
off.
Oh,
Who
sorry
wants to
about
do a
that.
I-
podcast after that?
Sorry about that.
I'm driving through Arizona, like waiting for the call.
Yeah.
And at like 6
Yeah,
o'clock,
waiting?
I'm like, Chris, what is the deal? And he's like, oh, I forgot to tell
Oh,
you.
we
like,
never
3
let
hours
you
ago.
know.
3 hours ago, we decided not to do the show.
Late night podcast.
Riley and I ended up doing a little show by ourselves for the live people.
Oh, well, that's
You
good.
did?
Puppet
The
show?
Tech
or what?
Cast?
Should
Yeah.
have done
Did you post that? Can we go
Well,
back and watch that?
I'd
Yeah.
like to let our team know, especially the live team that was
Wow.
there, that I was, let's admit it, was I not wanting to cancel?
You were pretty committed.
I was pretty committed.
Thank you.
I was excited.
You were saying.
I was saying we got a question here from
Yes.
Jimmy Doyle. He says, so having Matt back
No,
was,
you were saying last week that you wanted to. That's not the same thing as actually wanting to. Because if
Oh.
you wanted to, you were the leader. You would have made us do it.
Oh, wow.
I made you do it?
Sure.
Have I made you do anything?
Matt, you can't make that.
True. Never mind.
I guilt you into
Carry the
things.
You
computer.
can make him grow a
Carry the
beard.
computer on the plane.
The laptop.
Desktop.
Oh, yeah.
So having Matt back was definitely different. When I first saw the time of the podcast, I was sad that it was on the short side until I started listening to it.
That was bad.
I totally
sucks.
felt like the fourth wheel in a conversation that had more bunny trails than Elmer Fudd's farm. For the
Wait a
first
minute,
time,
fourth wheel is good.
I actually saw myself staring at the time countdown, and it just would not go fast enough. I've listened to all the podcasts and have appreciated the amount of insight and expertise that you offer time and time again. Thanks for all you do, or in this case, don't.
Oh.
Oh, that hurts.
Just
Well,
You guys need to pick it up. I'm
Yeah.
tired of carrying this thing.
yeah, well, you
The weight of the
proved
world.
last week. This is from Chris Harkins, listening to the podcast on the way home. Loved Matt this time.
This
Oh,
time.
this time is that as opposed to every?
I love our team.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
who-
our
Their
what's not,
honesty.
what's not to love?
You guys are awesome. Thanks for all you do. All
Hi,
right.
Chris.
Chris. I'm
Um,
glad you loved me that time.
Mark Eads, your buddy
Mark.
from World of Warcraft,
Yes.
writes in.
He stopped
He's-
playing though.
He did.
Oh.
Oh, you found the Lord.
He says, after enjoying the Info Commercial podcast 107 on my vacation, I have a question. How do you really relax on your vacations? As I'm sitting here typing this up, I know that there are at least 3 big items that are waiting for me when I get back from this vacation. I've worked really hard this time to keep from working much on this vacation, but things just have to be done. After 11 years of doing youth ministry, you would think I would get this worked out, but I haven't. Here I am. I'm really looking for some key ideas, thoughts, reproof, whatever to move forward.
Wow.
You're good at
Reproof?
this. You're good at going on vacation and being on vacation.
While at work.
Right now I'm on vacation.
Yeah. It's
That's
sabbatical.
right. That's right. So what are you saying? What's my secret?
Well, I know
Are
what
you
your
saying the
secret
rest
is,
of us
but
aren't good at that?
Yeah.
Well-
Wow.
Actually, I think you've gotten way
Okay.
better. I would say.
Yeah.
It just depends for you.
Well,
Season.
sabbatical wasn't a vacation. When I'm on vacation, I go dark.
Yeah. It kind of
He
depends
does
on
now.
what.
It used to take him a couple days to unwind.
No,
Yeah.
I told Josh.
It used to
in,
take him-
in the midst of craziness when Saddleback was at like its growing out of control years. I had to take a 3-week vacation because the first week it took me a week just to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
the
get in
little
the zone.
detox thing. Yeah.
But you know, when I was in Mexico or doing different things, no computer, no phone,
Yeah.
and then for me, it's fiction. That's about the only time
Oh,
I
that's
read
cool.
fiction is on vacation. Because if I read a nonfiction or a church leadership book or a youth ministry book, my mind starts,
Yeah.
book gets pushed to the side and my journal comes out and here's 3 things we need
Right,
to do and
right.
this will teach and I can add this to the
Yeah.
PDYM seminar. I get worked up with nonfiction. Sounds weird, but fiction
Fiction fixes it, huh?
for me
It's
it
a
does.
good way to escape.
But
Yeah.
Matt can tell you the story because he's heard it a million times. this guy years and years ago at South Coast. He was a Jewish carpenter. And you're thinking, Jesus? No. I'm giving you the line. I'm feeding you the line.
He wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, no, I am, but
Ben.
You're thinking, Jesus? No.
I don't know it.
Gosh,
pull me
you
out.
killed so many of my stories, and now I'm giving you the softball. And
I know.
anyway, this guy was a carpenter. He was also a Jewish
What was the
gentleman.
line?
Dave Adelson.
Oh, what was his name?
That's what I say in the seminar. I go, there's a Jewish carpenter. Some of you are thinking Jesus.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Dave Adelson.
Oh.
Anyway, Dave said to me, hey, Doug, when are you going to take a vacation? And I said, oh, Dave. And he was an elder at the church. And maybe I was trying to showboat or something like that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
Dave, there's just no good time. I mean, you know, in summer's crazy. And then at the end of the summer, I got to get ready for the fall. And in fall, there's maybe a couple down weeks in December. But spring kicks in and we do our Easter break. And there's just not a great time to take a vacation. And he said to me, and I've never forgot this, he said, there's never a good time to take a vacation.
Yeah.
Because there's always something more to do. To me, the most stressful time is the 2 days pre-vacation, because you're trying to get everything, bills paid, doing everything last minute.
Yeah.
You know, Matt's taken me to the airport, 50 times, and I'm still like doing stuff on the way.
I know. What did I
Last
say
minute.
this last time? I was like, one of my favorite things is to watch you guys get out of your house. It's like
That's
pure
funny.
entertainment. Need me to take you? Yes.
You just gotta leave the
So-
phone. We unplug our answering machine at home.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're
That's
still
a great.
we're still in the analog era, but we have an answering machine at home. We just unplug it,
good.
turn off the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when I say my auto response on emails, I tell people when I'll be back, but don't expect a quick
Yeah.
reply, and then just shut down stuff. You got to do. You almost have to work harder to go on vacation, but you got to have that
Yeah, it's so
downtime.
worth
Yeah.
it. So worth it.
Yeah, it helps too to remember that the kingdom of God marches on without you.
Man.
Yeah. So when you keep that in focus,
Yeah.
the rest of the world just keeps spinning, and it's
Maybe,
okay.
maybe you start with the theology.
Yeah. Well, I didn't
And
really.
then
I
add
couldn't.
Then go to
fiction in.
practice.
Yeah.
Here, I just jumped right to
I couldn't.
fiction
I couldn't
and
get a word in edgewise, so I
Well,
just was waiting for
which
the right
is-
time to strike.
I was going to say, have you ever waited for time?
New math.
Yep. I got a beard.
The
You know what?
bearded
You're
man.
very close to needing mustache wax.
Tell
Yeah,
me
it
about
won't be
it.
long. You got some stragglers.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
just.
you gotta bring them into line.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
I was thinking that
Mish likes it.
next
I was gonna cut
podcast,
it.
Trim it?
the three of us, because I don't want to include Jana on this, but the three of us ought to come up with some September new podcast weight exercise
All
bet.
right.
Oh, that's nice of you to not include me.
Yeah.
Wait, you're back on? You're gonna
I
do it
don't know.
again?
Well, he
am
was
I?
on a 3-week vacation and he ate like a
Oh, like
farm
that. Yeah,
animal.
that was awesome. So good.
This is from Thomas Pokovitz.
You're looking pretty good.
Thanks. Woodland Hills Christian Church. He says, I'm in need of some advice and
Is that where
direction.
Habib was at?
Maybe.
No, that was Wood something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to all of our team that wouldn't know Habib.
Yep.
Habib used to be on our staff. I am in need of some advice and direction. I graduated from Bible college over 3 years ago and have been in the same church since graduation. Since I started in 2006, we have grown from 160 average attendance to over 300 in attendance. As we grow, I'm happy to say for the first time we are hiring someone to take over children's ministry and allowing me to simply focus on junior and high school ministry. I am so excited, but at the same time, kind of scared about how I will transition and be able to go into more depth with my junior high and high school ministry, where I've only been able to do so much while taking care of all the youth. I feel as if I'm in need of a new direction and a new vision. Where should I go? How should I start? What book should I read? Thanks so much for the podcast. You guys are awesome.
Cool.
So let's just go around. What would you do? So you're now all of a sudden you're overseeing all children's and youth to now they're hiring a children's guy and just doing youth.
You know, me personally, before I went to other resources or other people, which are two great things to do, I would get some time, get some space to say, what are all the things I wish I could have done? If you could capture those wish moments, which it sounds like that might be kind of hard to do because he has been so busy and so caught up. But I think that there's going to be a lot there to start on. to get you started if you take some time to do that. But the second thing I would say is I wouldn't be so quick to fill it. I would fill it slowly. I mean, just because you get, if your life is like this, and you're going to get some more space for youth ministry, I wouldn't be so quick to fill it. I would try and fill that slowly. Definitely, I would make it a priority to establish some of the key relationships, that you want to take deeper, or form some new ones with some leaders, either students or adults. But so I would think about the wish list. I wouldn't fill it so fast, and if you're going to get more time, you got to invest it in people over strategy and new programs.
You really were only supposed to answer one.
Yeah,
one
that's
thing.
all
right.
right.
But
Great.
that's
Next
good.
Oh,
question.
really?
No, that's fine.
I know,
I
first
said,
respect.
what would you do?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Jana's just heckling you.
Oh, man.
You're the father of the year.
She's so mean. She's
You're-
making fun of Griff today, and now you're making fun of me? What the
She
heck?
made fun of me when she called me this morning. She kind of made a
Really?
little
A little
sabbatical
dig.
slap.
Yeah.
Sabbatical
She was
Doug.
calling you fat earlier too.
No.
Oh no, I guess it wasn't.
No, that
I was
was
just
you.
in my mind. I guess.
That was just...
Kidding. Very skinny. Very skinny.
Look at that.
I was gonna say something similar though, of just go slow. Like just because you have
Yeah.
more space doesn't mean run fast. Like strengthen what is being built.
Totally.
Strengthen that, and then add slow to that, so that you can build efficiently and well.
Yeah, because you even said fill it slowly. And I thought, what if you don't even fill it?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. You're not saying that,
Right.
but even
Right.
even the terminology about
Yeah.
fill it slowly, maybe we don't even fill it. Maybe it's just move slow, and because it is
Yeah,
a
that's a-
temptation, because when you're overseeing, when anytime somebody says, I say, what's your job description in the church? Well, I oversee children's, youth, what? Well, my response is typically, well, that means you don't do anything well, because it's so big or so much responsibility. It's hard to do something well. You're going to feel like you've got extra time not
Yeah.
doing children's ministry, and you're going to feel like I should be keeping that pace. But
Yeah.
maybe in that there is a moment or a season when you even bring advisors into your life, and this is a
Yep.
general rule for everybody listening, all of our team members, who say, "Would you help me?" I've done this with both of you guys before, not you. I've done this both of you where I've said, help me
Yeah.
with margin in my life. This is the kind of person I want to be. I don't want to say yes to every request. I want,
Yeah.
family prioritized. I need help with that, and maybe there's a community of coworkers or volunteers or men and women in your life where you say, can you come alongside and help me
Right.
move slowly
Yeah.
in this new season?
It's good.
Because it's easy to fill it and fill it fast.
I like the idea of thinking of yourself as starting over. Like if they were to read
Yeah.
first 2 years
2
in youth
years,
ministry
yeah.
and saying, I'm just starting over brand new, what would I do?
Yeah.
Come with the eyes of nothing sacred, I can start over.
Yeah.
And then I would also recommend, I finished this a couple months ago, but sustainable youth ministry. I really like that. And in this case, I'm reading that from a ministry that feels unsustainable at times. So I'm trying to learn how to be balanced the other way. And this guy's a chance to look at sustainable youth ministry from a point that it isn't overwhelming for him yet. So he could build towards sustainability as opposed to trying to cut and finagle your way back down to sustainability.
And
So,
what was the definition of sustainability for this context? The book?
I'm not sure.
Yes. In this context, this answer.
No. For sustainable youth ministry, is that like ministry that doesn't burn out leaders?
Effective ministry
Ministry
where
that doesn't
everyone's
cost
healthy.
too much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a matchstick on the cover, so it's definitely a burnout type of avoiding that, burning yourself out, burning out your people, and burning out your students. I think was part of the
okay.
angle,
It would
So
be
maintaining
similar in the genre
margin.
of purpose-driven youth ministry
Totally.
to like, how do you go after health and
Right.
do it in a way that's sustainable?
And I think that's a great question to ask
Foundation.
at this moment.
It's a
before
great
it's
book.
like too heavy to
Yeah.
carry. He can go, hey.
Yeah.
Well, based on your definition of it, I was wondering if you did more than looking at the cover. No, just kidding. I think that was a cheap shot. But
It's okay.
whatever
Jana
you
does it all
want
the
to
time.
do, though, I think. What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Jana does it all the time. Don't worry
Jana
about it.
does it all the
Cheap
time.
shot.
Cheap shot. You just don't want it to happen. I think the fact that you're asking the question is
be
awesome.
intentional, yeah.
You're asking the question, and that's the good thing because you don't want it to just happen.
I think if you're going to be a leader to him or even a mentor to the person that you're getting, allow a little bit of space to help that guy transition in well too, because we don't do that really well all the time. We don't help people transition well, So that might
Yeah.
even be something that you could offer.
Well, one of the things we do well amongst all of us here
Do-do.
is is that we share some common values in terms of space and quiet time and family,
Right.
where when you say I'm leaving early to go to Austin's kindergarten deal,
Yeah.
we're thrilled. No, we're not like,
Right.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm
you're-
saying Dad of the Year.
Yeah. Real encouraging, Jana.
yeah, or when Jana, you go, hey, I'm on Thursday mornings, I'm going to do a Beth Moore Bible study. Your coworkers are not going, ooh, Jana's slacking off. She's
Right.
coming in
Right.
late. Where we've created community that allows important values to rise to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
and that's why their teams are getting the most cuts. Because
Hey,
those
not here
values
anyhow.
those values don't rise any higher.
yeah, they only
Yeah.
rise to.
They're just right here, yeah.
They rise to
He's
the
going to his kids' games. Well, he's not working hard enough. Cut some people
cut
on
him
his team.
3%.
Yeah.
So they rise
That's
to
all you got, huh?
rise to the top.
Got a high roller.
Let's don't talk about salary cuts, right? This is from
Buy
Brian.
99 Thoughts for Youth Workers. And go to
Dodgeball.com.
Don't make up for my bacon.
Hey, did you,
I
speaking
can
of,
finally see Josh saying, "Don't cut my salary, just cut someone off."
Well, when I heard. Well,
Is that an
way.
option?
He's got
He
11
No,
loves
kids.
his
he would
team.
never say that.
but yeah, I mean, Austin's not going to eat anymore. So, way to put that on your culture or on your conscience.
culture. Hey, speaking of which, did you
Oh.
hear us talking about 99 Thoughts?
I did. That was a great show. I listened to it as a family, which I was worried about.
Oh,
If my kids
gosh.
could hear about it, and Christian about halfway through goes, "They make fun of you a lot on that show." I'm like, "Yep, they do."
Oh, I thought we were nice to you, actually.
I told him that it was it was in Friends do that. Friends
Yeah.
make fun of each other till they cry and stuff.
Just like the
Friends
dads
do
drop
that.
their kids on cement.
They do. Friends,
Yeah.
friends
You know when
sometimes
Dad goes
make-
to counseling, Austin?
This
That's
is
where he's
mine.
going.
Those are the
Yeah.
people.
We had,
That's good.
yeah.
What?
No, I was going to talk about. You're sweaty. I
I
just
am
did
hot.
that.
It's so
warm
hot.
in
Hot.
here.
It is hot.
It
in here.
is.
It's always hot in
There,
here.
we're saving on the
Maybe I
AC
need to roll my
apparently right
sleeves
now
up.
too.
Yeah.
It's the good lighting in here, too. It just raises
Incredible.
the...
You see my
That's
sweat right
single
here?
I was
halogen.
going to talk about
Oh.
UFC.
That was
Awesome.
fun.
Saturday night was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Stardies
Well,
weren't
it was-
invited.
it
No,
was-
Lee was
it was
invited.
Fri-
Lee
it was
yeah,
Friday
You
night,
weren't.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your husband was.
Saturday night.
No, Saturday night was
After
UFC.
services.
Oh.
Pay-per-view.
Oh,
I had some of my favorite males just spontaneous
It
hanging
was
out.
so much fun.
And we watched
Loved it.
UFC and it was great.
Yeah. Was your favorite part me sleeping through most of it?
I can't believe you
Your
fell
little
asleep.
snore during the title fight, even. What?
But you know what?
No,
he was
I
out of
watched the
my
last
Oh,
fight.
okay.
he was out of my
Oh,
peripheral,
peripheral?
so I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
it's not
I don't
a
like
pretty sight
UFC.
when
I
Matt
don't think
falls
UFC
asleep
is
in
that good.
public.
But you
Yeah.
like hanging with the dudes.
Oh,
and eating
that was
pickup
awesome.
sticks.
That
That's
was
all.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's the best
Didn't-
part.
What?
That's not a good...
There's a Janice soundbite.
Yeah. Yeah, put that on the intro.
Oh.
That is terrible.
All right,
now.
this is from Brian.
cool and fresh.
Brian says on podcast 108, I heard someone lost the questions, which that was me. Send your new questions to
Doug.
sym@podcast.com. And
Or
here's
text
what
him to.
here's what Brian did.
Is that right?
sympodcast@gmail.com. Here's what Brian did. He says, "Hey, the dipstick lost my question. I'm going to resend it."
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
He just called you a dipstick, though.
Yeah.
So-
Well, yeah. To show teamwork and not point fingers. Thanks, Jana, for making mistake number 2. I love that. Look how convincing I was.
Yeah.
I have forwarded my question
Not
below.
true.
Remember, I ended one of them and said, "Oh, next week we've got a lesbian
Yeah.
question." Here it is.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Don't
Hi,
bother
team.
to warn us on this.
First of all, I miss Matt. He is the balancing force on the other end of the teeter-totter of Doug, Jana, and Josh.
So
what
you
other end?
balance all three of us.
Wow. Maybe I need to do something about this weight.
Shave, you'll lose like 4 ounces. Man.
Quick but touchy question. We have an awesome volunteer who is openly lesbian.
Okay.
All right? That made me immediately go to what kind of church he works at. A Lutheran church.
Okay.
She loves Jesus, sings in the praise team, plays piano, helps out with fundraisers, and is all around great person to be with. Where would you draw the line in terms of her level of involvement? She went with our youth on a week-long mission trip as an adult chaperone paired with another adult. We want to model grace and truth to our youth. At some point, we will have to discuss more with her. I am sure it will be a tear-filled conversation at that point. We are leaning towards involvement, but stopping short of a leadership role. We're also praying and thinking how to discuss with her the lifestyle she has chosen to help her see what is biblical. Well, and it's interesting.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah.
Well, what's confusing you?
Well, you go forward.
Well, as I read this again, I haven't read these in a week. Remember last week I wanted to do the show and you guys didn't?
Yes.
I remember.
It's more of a notion than a conviction.
Why aren't they calling?
Even as I read this again, I think, Brian, you know the answer.
Yeah.
Because you actually say the answer. That, of course we want her involved in the church, but stopping short of a leadership role.
Well, it's kind of weird because it sounds like she almost
Involved
has
in the
a
church
leadership role.
or involved in the youth ministry? It seems like he's drawing a difference between a leadership role and involvement in the youth ministry.
Well, it sounds like she's involved in the church, plays piano, praise teams, help out with fundraisers, great person. Where do we draw the line? And so, but stopping short of a leadership role, where it sounds like she's involved in the church, but maybe not a leader in the youth ministry.
I mean, I'm surprised he would let this person go on the trip as
much as
what is it? What is the word?
Chaperone. It said as
Chaperone?
an adult
Yeah.
chaperone.
on a week-long mission.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's chaperones with kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
right?
That's a leadership
That's,
role.
to me,
Yeah.
that's a leadership role. That's the thing that's going to be sticky is you've
Yeah.
given her a little bit of a leadership role and some,
Yeah.
so then to.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he's not making decisions in isolation. He's at a Lutheran church, which is going to be a little more liberal in terms of
Sure.
their, possibly their stance than we would be at Saddleback. And so obviously their leadership has her involved in some forms of involvement, and obviously I think, she needs to be, in the church, involved in the church. But as the point person of the youth ministry, you are the leader. You are the keeper of the safe. And it's not just somebody who's, openly lesbian. If somebody was, involved
Had a
in
problem with anger. If
whatever.
someone was really getting angry all the time,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want them around students. I mean, it's not,
Right.
if
It's less of an orientation
wasn't,
issue.
yeah, it has, that's just, it could be one of 50, or whatever. So that's the important thing too, is you don't want to
Yeah.
red flag it just because it's that issue. I mean, if there was someone who wasn't submissive in your church in the right way, they were very divisive and gossipy, and you wouldn't want them on your leadership team either.
Yeah, the bigger principle is that you have a stewardship issue of who you allow to hang out with kids.
Totally.
And you have a discernment process, and that discernment process might happen within community. I'm reading a book right now because that's all I do on the sabbatical is read. And in that discernment
Sabbatical Doug.
process, it talks about community discernment. And it's
Right.
really interesting to me that if you're discerning God's will, it's not just one leader; it's a collective group of leaders.
Right.
And this is a big decision. I wouldn't make it in isolation. I would involve other leaders in my church with this, but care, love.
Now, here's what's tough. What if their pastor is like, of course that person could be a leader in your ministry? Then, if that's, then it's time for you to move on. I mean, it sounds like where you're at.
Yeah, depending on
Yeah.
where this person would be theologically.
Yeah.
Could have a big problem with that.
Yep.
All right, well, that kind of just sucked the air and enthusiasm out of the room, didn't
Boy,
it there?
That wasn't that tough of a question. That was.
No,
I
but that's
didn't
a
say
hard
it was- I
conversation
didn't say
for
it was-
Brian.
that
I mean,
is.
I feel
How's
for
it going?
Brian.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That's a.
How's it going? I couldn't even see with my glasses off. I just saw a mass, a fleshy mass.
Rob Miller says, what is Chris's Twitter account to follow so I can get the podcast information? Isn't that Simply Insider?
That one or CRD55.
CRD55 is Chris's personal
Is
one.
my personal one.
And then Simply Insider is...
Twitter.com/Simply
Isn't Simply Insider Nadeem?
When we let him.
Yeah, but it just keeps. It
It's
keeps.
inside.
it's
It's,
not-
inside.
But they could follow you
stuff.
and probably get most of the notifications that we're doing a podcast or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You could follow me for wisdom.
Or not.
knowledge,
Or not.
just
Yours is
wisdom.
terrible.
That's right.
Why is? Because you're the voyeur. So why don't you? You're the
Yeah.
voyeur of
I
all
blocked
Twitters.
Janet.
Janet,
She
Janet,
can't even
describe each
see
of our
mine.
Twitter accounts in one
Yeah.
word. Go.
No, I don't follow any of you guys. You guys blocked me.
No, you
No,
follow.
we unblocked you.
Yeah.
No, yours is good because it's a little bit of personal stuff, a little bit of leadership, a little bit of church stuff. So I like yours.
When you say yours, you mean Doug at
Yeah, Doug.
DougFields.com.
Yes. Yeah.
Twitter.com/DougFields.
Matt's
following.
is so classic Matt. Like
Yeah.
And what's wrong
quick,
with that?
quick
Do you not
opinions.
like me?
Sometimes, well, no, I like you. Oh,
She hangs on every word you say on your Twitter account.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Josh.
Quick opinions.
Yeah, yours are pretty. Like, here's my opinion. Like,
I don't think I've heard
little-
enough of Matt lately, to be totally honest. I
Yes.
miss. I'd like a little more of Matt.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Yours
before, but-
yours needs to be. You don't Twitter as often as you used to. I would
No.
like. I was going
Well,
to
he's
say
been on
I would like a
vacation
little
for
more.
a
Josh's
month.
are
yours.
very personal, though.
Yeah,
I think yours are personal.
Yeah.
I don't think they're always revealing
Yeah.
of the way you reveal yourself to me. I
Yeah.
think at times or whatever to close
Well,
friends.
yeah, but none of us do that, except for maybe me.
Okay, here's the thing about Josh, though, for youth pastors that are out there, because I think you do a good job of talking about balance with family and youth
yeah,
ministry.
I do too.
Oh,
And
cool.
you,
And
I think you
success
give,
and failure.
I think you give a lot of good ideas of how to spend quality time with your family in what
Yeah.
you have is limited time. You
Yeah.
know.
That's awesome.
So-
Thank you.
Yeah, like if I had to choose one Twitter between you or Matt, I would choose
Oh yeah,
you.
mine. Oh,
What if Janice started twittering? You'd drop us both. wouldn't you?
totally.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm
No.
okay with
Probably
that.
because
No,
it
I
would just
don't
be
know.
Doug. You need to do this. Hey, Doug, don't forget about that.
Direct
it would
message.
become your.
Yeah.
It would become your to-do list.
Task
That's
list.
true.
Why don't you Twitter?
I would have nothing to say.
Your
What do you
life
want to
is
know?
so interesting.
No, it
You
is
need-
not though.
No, I'd follow
No.
yours over
Yeah.
hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
you-
My
you
problem
have-
is
well,
that I don't
that's-
have just one voice. I've got multiple in my head, so I don't.
The
one
voices
voice
of
doesn't
Matt
come
McGill.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I like
that's
that.
my
Yeah.
problem.
Well, if Andrew tweets, hopefully it'll come back soon.
Oh,
please.
goodness.
You know what?
No,
I'm-
don't. Let's
I-
not.
People
Let's get on to
People
this.
need Evander
Okay.
tweets.
Jesus.
This is from Kirk Bodum
Hi,
in
Kirk.
Palm Harbor, Florida. He says,
Hello,
I've been
Mr.
in
Bodum.
student ministry for about 14 years, and I know the value of a good conference. It not only gives me more ideas and things to bring back to my students and leaders, but also helps me take a break and just have fun with the other people who love God and love students. I've been to many conferences over the years, but have never found a conference that speaks to me like the National Youth Ministry Conference. Did Andy write this?
Oh.
I was going to say, anonymous
Did Andy promise you
Hotmail
a steak
account.
dinner?
by
The
chance.
Simply Youth Ministry Conference. I have been every year so far. Here's my problem. My
Now
wife and
known
I,
as.
Is this copy
He's
for
totally
our
an
brochure?
insider.
What is
Seriously.
Yeah.
my wife and I are expecting our third child in February,
Oh,
March, about the same time of the
freebie.
conference.
Oh my goodness.
I am
Third
torn.
child.
Did you let me get through it, you three squawkers? I am torn, but know I need to be with my wife at that time. Do you have any suggestions for another conference I could attend? I know it would never be
Nope.
like being with you guys, but what do you suggest? Well, if it's not till February, March, you go. There's 3 in the fall with
Yeah.
new specialties. Los Angeles, and it's
Are
the
there
first time I've
two?
never.
I think there's two. Is there two?
No, there's 3.
There's 3.
I forget where Los Angeles.
LA
Where
is
are
the one
they?
closest to us.
Cincinnati and Atlanta.
Cincinnati,
Oh.
Atlanta. There's 3 in the fall. It seems like every other church. I just got Group Magazine
Yeah.
a couple days ago and Children's Ministry Magazine because Life Development Pastor
Oh, yeah.
overseeing children. It seems like every church now has a conference.
know.
20 years ago it was Saddleback and Willow.
20,
and now,
like 12 years, 10 years ago it was like.
well, thank you, Miss Almanac.
And they've
She
all
would-
got the same speakers.
They do. That's the part that bums me out now. The circuit is so small. You could go to
Did
any...
you show me a website that's like pick your conference, and it's like
I've seen
it's
it. I don't know
got
if I showed it
yeah
to you.
yeah
Hey, what
yeah,
if-
yeah.
Okay,
Drag
What
and
if-
but if
drop
he wants
the
to come
same
hang
Yeah.
out,
I was
same
going to say,
musicians, same...
spend your conference money and come out and hang out.
I
Do
like
the
it.
podcast.
I like
You can
it.
spend
Come
half
hang
a day
out.
with Josh,
I'm in.
half a day with Matt, half a day with Jana,
nope, we can't be alone.
a lunch with me.
Lunch. A lunch with all of us. How much did he say? How much he can bring? 'Cause let's do this.
That's
I
right.
can scale my lunch based on
how much he pays.
How much dough he's got.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Because you got cut.
I got cut. I need to eat. Daddy's hungry.
Everybody at Saddleback, we got pay. Graciously, we submitted an idea. I mean, I said take as much as the Lord would want you to take. What did you
Amen.
guys say?
I didn't reply because I thought only people who replied were suck-ups. Is that bad? I'm just
No,
gonna say
we
it.
had
That's
that
how I felt.
conversation too.
Because I think it's very noble and good, but it just feel I couldn't do it. If I said that, I would be just sucking up. So I took the cut with no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried a little bit.
Yeah, 3% cry.
3% cry.
Yeah.
99 thoughts for youth workers.
Half a tier. More than dodgeball.com.
To make up that-
advertising. Cha-ching.
I'll make 10 cents a book. So. Oh, wow.
All right. Well,
100 books for $1.
It's not bad.
that's not true.
It sold 1,000 copies, and Ange goes.
It sold 1,000 copies?
Oh, that's good.
That's
And Ange
great.
goes, yes, $60. She goes up the stairs. That was awesome. You have no idea how funny she
She's
is.
been having some good
Oh,
vibes.
she's
It's more
zinging
than
me
that.
right now.
The vacation
Kirk,
line was funny.
come on out. You know what we ought to do? We ought to figure out a alternative conference out here, like a
Super
I
conference?
like it.
no, well, a super conference too.
Why out?
Yeah.
Why out here?
So we don't
Are
have
we-
to get on a plane.
I like that.
Let's do
What
like
about
a
this?
5-person conference.
I like those.
Oh.
How
Have
about
you
an
seen-
8-person conference?
Remember when we used to do
So
the
there's-
gathering?
There's.
I
we
like
still
it.
do. All right, let's move on.
Did we do the gathering?
Every year we've done the gathering.
What if we?
Not every year.
What if
How's
we
his
did?
mic? Because he just jacked it into his earlobe.
Well, I
He
think
moves-
it's the beard.
The
is
beard?
causing friction
The
and
facial hair?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be scratchy the whole
All right.
time.
I don't think
This is
my
from
normal mic.
Keith Abernathy. Keith says, Doug, thanks for saying the email address during the podcast.
You're welcome.
sympodcast@gmail.com. Hey, speaking of which,
Should you do your radio voice?
last
What? For what?
question
What?
was
Okay.
about the conference, and
Yes.
up on the
What's on
board says new conference site, youthministry.com/SYMC. This pays for our bandwidth. So we've already
Wait,
said.
seriously? I
No,
never
well,
heard about
What
this.
we
pays-
have to. We need to
Oh, right,
announce
right.
products every once in a while to pay for
Yeah,
the bandwidth.
Hotel info, get room early.
And if a lot of you go, maybe we'll get paid to do the podcast.
That's what I was hoping it was. I said, what?
Wasn't that a few sessions ago where we talked about how could we?
I know.
Like-
I wasn't on that one.
Maybe Andy should make up the 3% difference.
No, what?
agree.
No, Matt. Here's what we did. We
Plus.
just said we have so much fun doing this that
Yes.
we've always
Wouldn't
said
it
who,
be great to get paid?
who
to do it?
cares? Who cares if people listen? I mean,
Right.
we all love our team,
Yes.
but we always have fun. We said, what if you could make a living just doing what you love doing?
Which for me would not be the podcast.
I
but
know. Well,
it would be
you
hanging
could
out with you
organize
guys.
the to make sure we had them and they were read.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right.
Anyway, what is the win free admission to the Simply Youth Ministry Conference? Send favorite barbecue sauce. Winner picked by podcast crew.
That's
I
super
just
fun.
heard this on the way in because I didn't see the email.
I read the email. It's very funny.
Was
Send
it?
your favorite barbecue sauce to this office. We're going to stack them up. And are we going to test them? We'll
You
have like
guys
a.
will test them.
Oh, we will test them.
I would like Josh to be my cupbearer.
Here's your sauce, sir.
No,
Sire.
to test it first. You would test it. What if
No, just
somebody?
like-
What if somebody put something bad in it?
Oh.
Arsenic.
So wait, you want me to
And-
die?
well,
His children are younger. You should be the taster.
I agree.
Oh.
You got to
Yeah.
marry my wife.
Actually, all of
Raise
our
up
children are younger, so.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should go. As
You
a
need to
patriarch
take
of
care
youth
of us.
ministry.
I mean, you're on sabbatical for goodness'
no, I'm
sakes.
off now.
Oh,
What a
I'm
way to
sorry.
go. Taste testing barbecue sauce?
I
I'm
can
in.
think of
That's a
better
good
ways to
story.
go.
Well, eating is what I was thinking.
Ah.
If you're going to die with food in your mouth.
Sure.
Anyway.
All right, Chris, is that
Sweet.
clear enough?
I think so.
Send in your barbecue
I'll
sauce.
write it up.
Send in your barbecue sauce, and
Yep.
we're gonna do.
And if you click on the screen right now, you can go to the website.
Uh,
Can you do that? Yeah, done.
Just add it to the edit.
Done.
Uh,
Chris got his work cut out for him now.
Keith Abernathy says, like a lot, and he says a lot equals 2 words. I love it. That goes back to early podcasts.
On
That
the email that had
is.
the barbecue sauce had a lot, one word. I thought
it
it was
also
sure.
had pick a wiener as a line on there.
It did not.
Yes, it
What? Are
did.
you serious?
Yes, it did.
Didn't we decide that was too inappropriate?
Was
It
this a
feels
Labor Day
inappropriate
deal?
even right now. Yeah.
It sort of does.
It was a Labor Day special or something like that.
I did not see the connection of the Labor Day.
Don't you barbecue on Labor Day?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And I had nothing to do with it. I have, especially if a lot was one word.
A lot was one right at the top. And I was
Like a lot of youth pastors, I'm in a season where I'm talking to several people interested in becoming volunteer leaders within the youth ministry. What are 2 or 3 must-ask questions you guys would recommend in that initial conversation when someone comes into the office and says, I'd like to work with youth this year? And when I read it, I just wrote PDYM first 2 years. It's the one thing I put in both books is a section on volunteers. Questions to ask,
Yep.
things like that. If you don't have the book, can we post it on the side, Chris? Scan it and put it on there. Because you have to have some questions. Chris, let's just take the one out of PDYM. It has a list of
Okay.
questions. All right. Joe Thompson.
Done.
Hey guys, I know I'm not the first or only youth worker to feel this way, but right now I feel like I'm struggling to keep my head above the water. I'm so glad the summer is coming to an end so that I'm not gone so much on trips, but I'm so stunned that it's over because that means the school year is starting back up, which means small groups, midweek events, and all the other things that go on with the school year in ministry. I feel like I only had about a month of none of the normal weekly meetings just so I could get on top of other things. I feel like if only I had about a month of nothing,
There it is.
okay, I'll add it here, I could get on top of other things, then maybe I could feel like I was somewhat in control of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right now I just feel like I'm being pulled downhill and can't stop. Any advice on prioritizing and making time to do what needs to be done and what should be done? Joe Thompson, Fairmount Christian Church.
Awesome. Well, what you're feeling is totally normal. I'm feeling it right now too. Every sentence that you wrote, I'm feeling right now. Absolutely.
Even with a poor grammar?
Even with the poor grammar.
It
'cause
might
I-
have been poor
Or the reading,
It
yeah.
might have
Oh.
been excellent grammar. Joe, let's blame it on me.
To me, you just got to go right to volunteers. Volunteers help carry the load. So, yes, I'm feeling this even with what I feel is a good volunteer structure.
I'm not
behind me.
feeling it right now.
For the first time in your
My
life? though.
sabbatical.
Seriously,
was-
though, first time in your life.
I always feel it. I mean, it was the illustration I gave about the first vacation question.
Yeah.
It is that vicious cycle of
Yeah.
When
you
you get-
race to get ready for summer, you plow through summer. As soon as summer ends, you go in, set into fall.
Right.
Fall's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you feel like you get your feet underneath fall, you've got a spring Easter break
Yeah.
conference coming. You're done with that. You got to plan summer.
There's
Exactly.
a strong correlation. The stronger the feeling, the stronger the Messiah complex. So, think you can save the world, then you're going to have to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders.
I don't think it's as much as saving the world. It's things like having homes chosen for a Bible study.
Yep.
That's not like, I need to save the world. It's
Yeah.
just there is many tasks
Yeah.
that go on with it.
Ministry can't happen without me. No, that's not true for everybody. But I think that volunteers are the key, but you have to know what's important. You have to know
Right.
what's the strategic framework of your ministry, or you have to know the priorities. To say, do you have any way to prioritize things? That's what needs to be done, is to prioritize things. I mean,
Well,
that's-
here's what I would say to Joe. I'd say, Joe, find somebody outside of your ministry, and to anybody on our team like this, which say outside the ministry, that cares about you, but doesn't care about your ministry. That person could be objective.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you can't, Josh, you can't see the forest from the trees right
Not at
now.
all, no.
So you need somebody to come in and say, okay, Josh, how can I help you? Tell me what you're struggling with. And you're going, I got to do this, I got to do this. And then somebody who cares about you, and Ange and the kids, but doesn't care about the ministry goes, well, why are you doing that? Why don't you get so-and-so to do that? What if you got a volunteer to type up the, whatever it is,
Right.
just
No,
came in
I
and saw
agree.
something with fresh eyes.
But I think even before prioritizing, just starting the list of what is everything that needs to get done.
Yeah.
Because even as you write it down, you're going to be like, oh, okay, this can go over here
Right,
to the
that's a
side,
C,
you know?
yeah.
So even just starting
Yeah,
and
writing
adding to
down
that, every
helps.
time you think of something of like, okay, I got to do that too.
Yeah.
And even as you're writing it, you'll be like, somebody else can do this. I don't have to be the one to do that,
Yeah.
What
if you can't find the list?
Well, yeah,
the next day?
That is a problem.
One of the
Base camp.
things,
But
one of the
starting
things
at
that
the
I'm
bottom.
starting to experiment with is letting volunteers do the first draft of a lot of things. So I really like to see the final whatever before it goes out. But volunteers can get things started. They can do even sermon research and take at the small group, puzzle that we've got to put together. If we could use volunteers to at least do the first few steps, it'll take you so much further down the path than starting with a blank Word document with every task you've got to do.
But that's a personality thing.
Yeah,
have to-
you- you
have to
like
know-
that.
For
and
sure.
you like that too. For some people, editing is easier than starting from scratch.
Yeah. Because I look at a blank Word document and 49 other tasks and go, I can't even start this one because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
someone gives me something with a couple hundred words on it, I'm like, oh, I'm off and running then, and I'll
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it my own. But
Yeah, Josh and I, you're right. We are a lot.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't think I'm like that. and
Yeah,
don't think you're
I
like
see.
that.
I look at what someone else writes and I think, oh, I need to sit down with this person and help them do this better next time.
Because you have a Messiah complex.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is from Ryan Seegers. Ryan says episode 108 might have been the most applicable and commiserating episode for me yet.
you are
Applicable.
welcome.
The IT conflicts you described are exactly the same issues I've walked through with our IT department. I'm a middle school director. First, it was that I bought a Mac. We don't support it, was their response. That's fine. I'll figure it out. I was reamed out, and the conversation went like this: Me, why is what I'm doing in youth ministry budget so upsetting to you? Why is it what I'm doing with my youth ministry budget so upsetting to you? IT, because we don't support it. You don't buy any technology without running it through us. We decided what technology is supportable and useful for ministry. Me, I'm sorry. I understood your role as support. Now, I'm
Me.
wanting an iPhone. I'm going to pull a Josh and muscle my way. I think it's really
As a
pull a
Matt.
Matt.
Pull a Matt.
Pull a Matt.
He's-
That's right.
I
I like
haven't-
to edit. If you give me a couple hundred words. I'm going to pull a Matt and muscle my way through the crud because the end result is always the same. I wish you guys in student ministries would slow down and use the Dell dinosaurs and crapberries we give you and quit crying. But we'll figure it out for you this time. Then 3 to 6 months later, it's not a problem for anyone. Now they now support the Mac, the iPhone, or whatever. Anyway, I'm convinced that IT is to big church as grumpy old janitor is to a small church. A necessary pain. Great to relate to someone on this. I thought I was the only one dealing with this. Ryan Seegers sounds like a Matt McGill.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
like it.
Is
Do
that
it and
good?
ask for forgiveness later.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's Matt McGill. Matt McGill is good. I wouldn't do it that way, but that's why we're sometimes yin and yang and oil and water and.
Yep. Well, and the funny thing now is like 2 weeks after I get an iPhone, Rick is sending emails around to everybody. We need to have an iPhone app. I'm buying an iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when the pastor changes things,
Yeah,
it's different. You know?
yeah.
Block Twitter 1 week.
But you know what, Ryan?
Yeah.
and then we're all on
Yeah.
it the next. That was fantastic.
Ryan Seegers, you are on our team.
Yes.
You know, you're not the only one dealing with it, and that's why
Yeah.
we do the podcast.
There you go.
It's not only for us to be together.
For people like him.
It's for us
Like
all
Ryan,
to
we're on the
lament.
team. We share and lament together. Now, we don't have that much time left, Chris.
What kind of
do we?
event?
Oh, wow.
This podcast
Whoa.
flew.
I
Good
did
thing
fly.
you asked for a warning.
Pack
'cause
of
we were-
ravens.
that
I
was-
know.
These lights. It's
And
so
I have-
cool in here.
I
I
have
could stay
some more.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm like feeling
Let's
shiny.
do this. Hey, let me just say first of all, David Morris.
Oh.
David Morris on June 9th, 2008, so 15 months ago, you wrote a check to
2008?
Simply Youth Ministry for $25, and it was for the Youth Worker Fund. Remember when we were
Oh,
raising money to
yeah,
help some
yeah.
hurting youth workers?
Oh.
And
man.
somehow, he said, I can't do
Somehow.
the eBay thing. I can't do the eBay thing. It's too rich for my blood, but here's $25 to contribute to the Youth Worker Fund. Somehow it ended up in one of the drawers at my house,
and
and
we're
I just found it.
surprised that
We
it was.
can't
Yeah, nobody's
found.
believe
surprised.
it
But here
happened.
it is proof. It is proof that I don't lose things.
You don't
I don't
things.
lose things.
Sometimes they're just gone for months at a time and no one knows where they
but
are.
I just want you to know, check number 277, voided out.
He doesn't lose things
Voided
because he
out.
doesn't throw
You
anything
just
away.
made- our
You
our
know, to be
podcast just
known,
gave you $25.
to be known is a
to be
wonderful
loved.
thing.
Yeah.
It's community.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So next week we already have a time,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Just
at
because we
4
have a
o'clock.
time.
No, this
doesn't
is.
always
We have a
mean-
time.
You know
That's
what?
good.
Here's the funny thing. If we take the four of us and you add Chris in, and you take a collective IQ,
Yes.
I would
Uh-oh.
say that it would be higher than average. It's collective, okay? You throw out high, low, okay?
You throw high, low, and kind of average. And then, okay, I see where
I
we're
was
going
thinking
here.
Right here,
actually,
Chris.
Jana and I throwing out high.
High,
low.
high, low.
No, low, high.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
We are. I would say the group of us, we would be I would say higher than average, which
So
I think is
average
a
is
safe.
109
Who cares?
or like
Doesn't matter.
112.
We're higher than
Yeah.
average.
I
Right there.
agree.
Let's just say
Okay.
we're average.
No,
No, I'd
I'm
like to
way
say
smarter
higher than
that.
average.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the point?
The point is this: how we determine when we're going to meet for a podcast is the most insane, asinine way to do it.
It comes from our leader.
For
There
people
is-
that are this intelligent,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I thought to myself, I'm going to bring the calendar,
I
and we're
like
going to
it.
nail down next week.
all right.
Because what you don't know is Chris will send out a podcast, because Chris drives up from San Diego to Orange County, which is about 90 miles, and he works here a couple days a week, full-time with Simple Youth Ministry, mostly at home.
Mm-hmm.
And he drives up a couple times a week, and it's always great to see him, but he says, are we having a podcast this week?
Because
then-
sometimes he drives up only for the podcast.
Well, and then I
Like
send it
last
out
week,
to you
for
guys,
example.
what do you
Sorry,
think?
Chris.
And here's a time, and then Matt writes back and says, I can't. What was the thing?
no,
that he
he's like, maybe I can be there if it's really gonna be. I mean, it's so like.
Yeah, but it's
Is that
all of
yes
us.
or no?
It's all of us kind
Yeah.
of doing that. And Janet shoots in. I got a funeral, and Josh's like, too much to do, and I'm on sabbatical. I don't have it. So anyway, next Wednesday.
But
4
it's
o'clock.
on. So
Okay.
It's on.
at the end of each show, we'll schedule the next one, and we'll see you next week.
Simply Youth SYM podcast at gmail.com.
More than
Live
dodgeball.com.
team. You are loved.
Very loved.
And I have 99 thoughts for youth workers, but I can't get them out right now. So just
Why don't I to go ahead and write that?
okay.
It'll just be your stuff rehashed.
Wait, should a
anyhow.
volunteer start it for you, and then you'll go back and edit?
All right.
Which is illegal, by the way.
I love you. I love you.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Chris,
You're the best
thank you.
around.